In Uruguay, Yamandu Orsi of the Broad Front and Álvaro Delgado of the National Party will go to the runoff for the presidential election on November 24th. Lebanese Islamic resistance movement fighters bombed dozens of Israeli settlements in the northern occupied territories. A national strike continues in Peru after the executive's inability to deal with a wave of extortion and violence sweeping the country. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from TeleSUR Studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. In Uruguay, with 99.92% of the votes counted, it is established that Yamandu Orsi of the Broad Front and Álvaro Delgado of the National Party will go to the runoff for the presidential election on November 24th. The Broad Front coalition registered so far 43.9% of the votes, and the National Party dropped to 26.28%, as did the Colorado Party, which dropped to 16% of its favorable ballots. With these numbers, the Broad Front and the National Party will reorganize their strategies as from this Monday. Regarding the population consultation, 39.1% of the voters voted in favor of Social Security and 39.4% voted in favor of establishing night rates, so that neither of the consultations reached the number necessary for its approval. Next November 5th, the United States will celebrate its presidential elections. Let's review some facts of what will possibly be the most curious election in the history of the country.
This year we witnessed the shortest and longest election race of all time at the same time. Kamala Harris, candidate for the Democratic Party, had only 107 days of campaigning because the current president and former Democratic Party candidate, Joe Biden, decided to withdraw from the race with just under 4 months to go before the election. From another point of view, this was also the longest campaign since Donald Trump, the Republican Party's candidate, began his campaign for this year's elections on the same day he lost the previous election.
Thank you, New York. God bless you. God bless you all.
All this left a situation in which Kamala Harris became the first black woman in history to be a presidential candidate, without even running in the primaries. And Trump, the oldest candidate of all time, won the Republican primaries without participating in a single debate. Unprecedented in modern times.
Assuming that's true, how stupid are you to put out a report like that?
In addition, during the presidential election campaign, Trump suffered 2 assassination attempts. This was unprecedented in history. Although only the first was actually an assassination attempt, and the second was only a preparation in the legal sense. In Trump's case, it is also striking that this is his 3rd run for the presidency, something unheard of since the death of President Roosevelt in 1945. On top of all this, Trump is the first presidential candidate in history to have been the organizer of an attempted coup d'état and instigator of an armed rebellion in the country, for which he has criminal proceedings open against him.
Seriously, everyone knows she is a very low IQ individual.
Finally, an unprecedented number of high-ranking politicians and former politicians campaigned against candidates of their own party, in addition to a large majority having spoken out against Trump's election or openly supported Harris. This year will definitely be one of the most controversial, curious, and close elections in the history of the United States.
In your hands.
Let's go to Japan, where the ruling party failed to win a majority of parliamentary votes in Sunday's early elections. For the first time since 2009, the Liberal Democratic Party, hit by corruption scandals, failed to win in the general election, dealing a blow to the new Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba. The head of government said that voters have expressed their strong desire for the Liberal Democratic Party to reflect and act in accordance with the will of the people. The results Reports confirm that citizens are disappointed by the high cost of living in Japan and at the political scandals that helped oust the previous Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. Tunisian authorities reported that at least 15 bodies were found off the coast of the city of Mahdia, located in the east of the country. All signs indicate a new sinking of a boat with migrants. The bodies were found between Saturday and Sunday. In recent years, Tunisia has become the main departure point for migrant boats trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea to reach Europe. In this regard, the International Organization for Migration detailed that so far this year, more than 1,000 people have died or have been reported missing while crossing the Mediterranean Sea. In Thailand, a court ordered the disposal of a case against former state security personnel and officials over the death of 85 Muslim protesters in 2004. While there was enough evidence for an indictment, the case was unable to proceed as no suspects were arrested and brought to the court. Therefore, the court issued a disposal order as the 20-year statute of limitations on Friday. The court's statement remarked that the order is not a dismissal of the charges against the suspects, as they had never entered the legal proceedings but fled until the statute of limitation expired. The death denounced in the case occurred in 2004, shortly after a Muslim separatist insurgency erupted in Thailand's southernmost provinces of Narathiwat, Pattani and Jala, the only ones with Muslim majorities in the Buddhist-dominated nation. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates and more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. Lebanese Islamic resistance movement fighters bombed dozens of Israeli settlements in the northern occupied territories. Hezbollah confirmed that a volley of missiles was directed at military targets between the settlements of Al-Manara and Margalio. Before the attack, the Lebanese resistance issued for the first time an evacuation order to Israeli civilians occupying these Palestinian territories. In southern Lebanon, the inability of Israeli troops becomes evident. These operations generate new frictions between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, who assured in an open letter that a war without a compass is being carried out. In Egypt, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi proposed on Sunday a two-day ceasefire in the Gaza Strip in exchange for the release of 4 Israeli prisoners and some Palestinian prisoners. In this sense, if the Israeli and Palestinian sides were to accept the agreement in addition to the exchange of prisoners, this would allow humanitarian aid to enter Gaza. Moreover, according to the Egyptian leader, talks would be held within 10 days to implement a temporary ceasefire with a view to laying the groundwork for a definitive truce. El-Sisi also reported and reiterated Egypt's firm opposition to the forced displacement of Palestinians out of Gaza. In Palestine, dozens of students and teachers died after being asphyxiated by an Israeli tear gas attack in the occupied southern West Bank. According to reports, the Zionist attack targeted a school in the town of Hebron while school activities were in progress. The staff of the institution detailed that they had to evacuate the entire school community through alternate routes to ensure their safety. In this context, the secretary of the Fatah movement asserted that Israeli forces fired toxic gas canisters into the school, causing dozens of students and teachers to suffocate. The governments of Algeria and Egypt called for an Israeli ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and stressed the need to restore stability in the region. Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune supports Egypt's initiative for a ceasefire in Gaza and demands that Israel allow the entry of humanitarian aid and stop the extermination against the Palestinian people, while the President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, affirmed that he maintains his position as mediator and said that the solution is to establish a Palestinian state. After their meeting in Cairo, the leaders discussed issues of bilateral interest and mainly their concerns for security, stability and peace in the region. In Spain, over 40 senior state representatives attended on Monday the 9th Union for the Mediterranean UFM Forum held in Barcelona. The intergovernmental organization is made up of European Union member states and 16 countries from the south and east of the Mediterranean, including Israel and Palestine. Notwithstanding, any Israeli authority participated at the event, unlike Palestine, which has been represented by its foreign minister Bassem Aghabekian Shaheen. The UFM group met for the second time to mainly address the war escalation in the Middle East in an attempt to settle all disputes and reach regional peace. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates of Jordan, Ayman Safadi, urged all present to stop the impunity of Israel. In addition, Joseph Borrell supported the idea in his following statement.
This is a moment in which the neighboring countries of the Mediterranean have all made their voices heard, calling for a political solution to this conflict, which cannot be other solution, and in this as well we all agree, than a process leading to the creation of a state for Palestine, and here the key word is implementation, not to proclaim the need, but to do what is necessary for this to happen. For 30 years, we have been proclaiming that this is the solution without acting decisively to achieve it.
We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at TeleSUR English, there you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights has urgently called for strict controls to prevent arms shipments to Haiti. The most recent report of the United Nations mission in the South American nation revealed that every day, on average, 13 people are murdered. In the most violent year that this country is going through, in terms of citizen security, from January 2024 to October, more than 3,450 people have been murdered due to criminality. The United Nations High Office assures that the arms that contribute to these rates of violence come mainly from the United States, the Dominican Republic, and Jamaica. National strike continues in Peru after the executive's inability to deal with the wave of extortion and violence sweeping the country. According to the Defense Front of Ayacucho organization, the pressure measure is being carried out to demand that national authorities take concrete measures and strengthen actions against the crime. The organization assured that the discontent of most Peruvians is due to the abandonment by the state in the face of the constant robberies, extortions, and murders all over the country. It is worth pointing out that during the last few weeks, the Transportation Union has carried out at least 3 national strikes to demand the Peruvian government to take actions against crimes. In Bolivia, Senate President Andrónico Rodríguez petitioned the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights to grant protection measures for former President Evo Morales. Rodríguez proposed the creation of an interdisciplinary group of independent experts that can objectively investigate the incidents that occurred this Sunday in Cochabamba. The president of the legislative body also considers prudent the presence of a United Nations observation mission. The call comes after the former president was the victim of an attack while traveling in a vehicle. The president of the plurinational state, Luis Arce, condemned the attack and requested an exhaustive investigation. The government of Venezuela advances in its food policies with the implementation of fares with affordable prices for the population in several municipalities of the country. Thousands of Venezuelan families benefited from the Campo Soberano open-air fairs, where vegetables, proteins, toys, and other products were sold at affordable prices. Recreational activities and medical attention services were also provided to the communities during the day, benefiting young people and senior citizens alike. The Campo Soberano Fair seeks to strengthen the social protection of Venezuelan families. In the Philippines, authorities reported 116 people dead following the passage of tropical storm Trami. According to data from the National Council for Disaster Risk Reduction and Management, there were also 109 injured, while 39 are still missing. Authorities added that over 1 million people are sheltered in assistance centers after landslides and strong winds caused damage to thousands of houses. The Philippines Meteorological Agency warns about the arrival of Storm Kong-Ray with sustained winds of up to 95 kilometers per hour, with forecast of reaching typhoon category in next 24 hours. In the United Kingdom, local press announced Monday that since October 16th, Woburn Safari Park has taken care of the first eastern mountain bongo calf in Bedfordshire, which is a main success to preserve the critical endangered species. The International Union for the Conservation of Nature Red List classified the forest antelope as critically endangered species, as there are fewer than 100 eastern mountain bongo worldwide due to a poaching and lost habitat. Therefore, Woburn Safari Park mounted a breeding program from which the male calf has been the first to be born in over 10 years, amounting to 5 the bongo herd at the park. By the time the calf grows up, he will be transferred to start a breeding group of his own. So far, Beth said both bongo mom and calf are healthy. Caracas hosted the 5th chapter of the Viva Venezuela Mi Patria Querida festival with the band Serenata Guayanesa as the main musical attraction. Let's see more details in the following report.
The Aquiles Nazoa Cultural Center was the stage for the Viva Venezuela Festival, which featured the Serenata Guayanesa Quartet and paid tribute to the states of Amazonas, Bolívar, and Delta Amacuro.
I came to see Serenata Guayanesa, which is a very old and important group, with their usual songs, like the one that says, La noche se muestra hermosa y rebosa de alegría. We sang that one yesterday at a birthday party here. For me, that song is wonderful, just like all the songs they sing.
Well, Serenata Guayanesa has been working for more than 50 years to promote and disseminate Venezuelan music, and of course, it is very important to have this type of event for greater diffusion and for people to enjoy.
The 2 days were full of color and joy. In addition to the music, the entrepreneurs were able to offer their products, as is the case of the network of gastronomic cultures of Guarenas, Guatire, Araira.
We make all kinds of Creole desserts, trying to rescue everything that has been lost, desserts that many people no longer know. We make desserts such as stuffed turkey and coconut preserves.
I have my profession, and then in my work I distributed my desserts. I have always sold my desserts since I learned to make them. Everywhere I have worked I have sold them, and now friends and people ask me, and I sell them here, in the cultural center.
The festival, which has already registered 214 artists from Venezuela, will continue its artistic program with chapters dedicated to the plains and the Andes.
We are very proud of this festival that is touring the country, doing a beautiful job to make visible, recognize, and dignify the culture and our artists. The invitation is for us to go to the activities that the Ministry of Popular Power for Culture organizes for everyone, for the enjoyment of the family.
The festival is part of the great mission Viva Venezuela, Mi Patria Querida, and it is a space that aims to promote music, song, rhythm, and popular dance, as well as to rescue, preserve, and disseminate traditional values.
Osvaldo Sayas, TeleSUR, Caracas, Venezuela.
We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For TeleSUR English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.